Uh-oh. Oh, so clumsy. No, you can't sit over there because there's not enough space for you. Sorry. Sorry. Okay. Now, let's see. Why you look so sad? She looks so sad. Don't be sad. Let's see if your head is soft enough. Ooh, yay. Let's pull it off. Tammy Barrow. Hello from Florida. Hello there. Nice to see you again. I like when I see the same names in the comments. I don't know why. I mean, I like when I see new names too, of course, but I really like it when I see like familiar names in the comments. It makes me feel like I'm home. That's why. So I just beheaded Adara. She is headless here. And we're going to experiment today. So she has to be headless for a moment, but not for long. Hi, Galaxy. Hi, Forever Artista in Chicago. You know what? I've been to Chicago once in my life, but here's my Chicago story, okay? And don't laugh at me. Well, you can laugh at me because I'm not going to know if you're laughing at me. Anyways, one time we were traveling. We were going from, I want to say, I was in New York, and we were traveling from New York to Korea, South Korea. So because the east side of the Americas is farther away from Asia, you have to kind of like make your way to the West Coast and then go to Korea from the East Coast. So one of our connecting flights was stopping in Chicago, I believe, one time. And so we were only inside of, let me think, where were we? Oh gosh. No, you know what? I'm thinking of Alaska. Yeah, Alaska was where we stopped on the way. No, Chicago was a different trip. It was a bus trip. Why were we in Chicago? We were going somewhere, and for some reason, our bus was connecting in Chicago to go to wherever else we were heading to. And I remember being in like a bus station, like a Greyhound bus station, but I don't know which one it was. I swear we never even left the inside of the bus station. We never even went outside. I just remember seeing like a train that was high up in the air. Like the tracks were not on the ground, they were in the air. And seeing this train go by, and me and my sister was like, oh my gosh, what is that? Like we were like so flabbergasted because we had never seen anything like that before. And that's my Chicago memory. And then off to the connecting bus, we went off to wherever we were going. I don't remember where we were going. Why can't I remember? I'm gonna ask my sister. My sister has like, I don't know. She's got like the fill in the blanks of my memory, like stuff that I can't remember from our childhood. She has very detailed memories to the point where she can almost remember like sensations and sounds that like I can't remember. She can remember smells like that are associated with whatever the memory was. It's the most bizarre thing ever, you guys. So sometimes when I think I'm going crazy, I'll just call my sister and be like, do you have a memory of this happening? And she'll be like, yes, girl, blah, blah, blah. And then she'll give me all these extra details. Okay, so I just used Adara's poor little body that I stole from her for a second. I have a backup body just in case I want to put her back on the body, but I just wanted to see how this Naturalisa's head would look on here. This doll is a gift from one of my viewers, Tevin, along with this Naturalisa's doll who's on a Made to Move body right now. Their heads are freaking hard as hell, you guys. So I had to soak her head in water before we started filming. I didn't actually soak it in water though. What I do is I put it into like a plastic baggie, and then I put the whole bag with the head into the water so that her hair doesn't get all wet. That way I don't have to like you know, do all this acrobatics with the doll before you take the head off. I just need the heat. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what I did. That's why she's not drenched. But I just wanted to see how she would look on this body. This is actually the Wheelchair Fashionista's original body. So that's what I'm using for the donor. It seems to be a fair match. It's not an exact match. No, it's not. But it's a fair match. You can get away with it. Okay, but that's not who this video is about. Our video today is about this lady right here, which is the, I guess, kind of newish Madam C.J. Walker doll from the Inspiring Women series. And we're going to take her out. I think she has a curvy body, but I want to see how that body looks on Adara, actually. I want to seal her body and give it to her because I think they're about the same complexion. And I think this doll is the same complexion as the Wheelchair Fashionista's doll, which is this one. So I'm going to attempt to swap bodies. We'll see how it goes. It might be a good look or it might be trash. Okay? Yeah, so we're going to do that. Let me think. What was I going to tell you? Oh, let me tell you guys a little bit while I'm taking her out the box about Madam C.J. Walker, because there's a lot of misconceptions about her that I didn't realize were so prevalent until I looked into it because of my interest in this doll. So here's a picture of the actual Madam C.J. Walker. Now, first and foremost, let's just put this out there. Madam C.J. Walker is not her actual name. Her real name was Sarah Breedlove. Okay, that was her real name, her birth name. CJ is actually her husband's initials. Charles Joseph Walker is her husband's name. And this is her third husband. So Madam C.J. Walker was just, it just sounded more regal and posh than Sarah Breedlove. So that's why she was known by that name. But so that's not her actual real name. That's interesting. And another thing about her is that she actually, even though she's labeled as the first self-made millionaire American woman, I don't know what constitutes you being self-made, to be honest, because they also give the label of self-made billionaire female to Martha Stewart. But according to, hey Janine, according to the Guinness World Records book, you know, Madam C.J. Walker has that title. But I think it's interesting to note that it depends on your idea of what self-made actually means. I'm thinking that when they say self-made, they mean that she had her own business. She's her own boss. She made herself rich. That's what they're basically trying to say. That's how I'm taking it, because it's not really accurate to say somebody is self-made if they had a lot of help from other people. Hi, Donis. Trash or cash, and all you do is switch heads, bodies, limbs, and see if the audience agrees. Nobody's gonna agree that any of it is trash. They're always gonna say, yeah, that looks great. So okay, but that'd be funny if on purpose you Frankenstein parts that shouldn't really be going together and then see how it looks, like a brat's body with like an integrity head. Trash. Anyway, so what was I saying? Okay, so about the self-made part of it, I think it's very interesting to note that Madam C.J. Walker was married to Charles Joseph Walker, who was an advertising guy. He was an ad guy. And so he already had a lot of expertise in marketing before she, you know, ever met him. You know what I mean? And with his marketing skills, he helped her to develop her business. So even though she had a good product, of course, but a lot of the notoriety that she got and a lot of the success that she had is due in part to her husband's help, because he really pulled his weight, traveled with her, and did a lot of different things to campaign for her company. And there were other rival companies at the time. For example, there was another woman, a black woman, who her name was Annie Malone, and she was also in cosmetics and hair care products, and she actually was before she was Madam C.J. Walker's ex-boss. So she worked for her before she started her own company. And that woman was very successful too, but she wasn't as well known as Madam C.J. Walker. I think because she didn't have a whole campaign helping her to market her products like Madam C.J. Walker had when her husband was helping her. So at some point in their relationship, they ended up getting a divorce, but of course she kept the name and the business and continued going on to be a very huge success. She was only in her 50s, her early 50s when she died, which is really so young. But, you know, she had a lot more, I guess, fame than some of the other women that were around in her time that were doing kind of the same thing that she was doing, just because of the way that she was marketing her business and the types of business moves that she was making and the access that she had to other resources and people that were really helping her to grow her business. So I think that's interesting just to talk about, because we live in an age, you guys, where especially in the West, like because of the internet and people being able to kind of make themselves instantly famous by going viral online, we have this weird culture where we think like, I don't need anyone. I can do everything by myself. I'm so independent. And yeah, that's great, but real successful people, they're not really working all by themselves. They're working with other people. They have a team behind them that are helping them. You know what I'm saying? Playing integral parts in what they're doing. Like, for example, Madam C.J. Walker's daughter was the one that suggested to her to open up salons in Harlem. And in listening to her daughter's suggestions, that helped her to grow her business even more, very drastically, once they got the Harlem scene going, you know? So I think that's very relevant. And I think that's something to keep in mind. And if you're someone who's like an independent artist, or you're trying to start a business, or you're trying to do something for yourself, don't hesitate to get help from people around you, your family members, your friends who believe in your dream, you know, people who are interested in the craft that you're interested in. Don't feel hesitant about asking for help. You're not any less self-made because you needed some help along the way. You know what I'm saying? In fact, you'll probably be a lot more successful if you actually take some help. So I just thought that that was an interesting lesson to learn from this story about this woman. But nonetheless, now she's out of the box. She does come with a stand, which I didn't take out the box just yet, and COA. And I just want to talk about the doll, really, but yeah, it's something to really consider. Another interesting thing though is that Madam C.J. Walker, they give her this title of being the first female millionaire, but I don't really know if that's quite correct. I don't know. I don't know for sure, because there's a lot of stories behind how they were keeping records back then of financial situations. And for example, her rivals, they weren't taking as meticulous records as her company was. So it's possible that there were other women that had made more money than her, but it just wasn't documented. But from what they could document, they gave her that title, if that makes sense. So, and also, like I said, she's the first self-made female millionaire, meaning she made herself relatively rich, versus someone just inheriting the wealth of her husband. Because I know people are like, what are you trying to say? There were no other millionaire females before her. I'm sure there were, but they didn't make the money themselves. It's like money that they inherited from their dad, or a family business, or a husband dying, or something like that. Usually is how a lot of women came into wealth back in those days. So that's just something to keep in mind. Take it with a grain of salt, basically. There's not like concrete proof that she really was the first female millionaire in America, but she's given that title because they think that they can back it up. You feel me? Self-made could just mean you did not come from a family of generational wealth either. Exactly. And she wasn't. She actually was the last of like 6 or 7 children, who was the first to be born in freedom. So all of her siblings and her parents before her were enslaved, and she grew up in poverty. She grew up in really tough times, especially when there was still segregation going on, and it was hard. But she ended up going into line of business for herself. And that's another thing too, because her boss kind of helped her to figure out how to do what she ended up doing when she was working for her. I'm sure she got a lot of ideas working under her, and her brothers were barbers, so she learned a lot about hair care from her brothers as well. So it's a lot of different people played roles in CJ Walker's life to kind of catapult her career to where it ended up going. So I think that's all very interesting to know about people. You know, when you hear about like serial killers, they always tell you the backstory of what happened in that person's childhood and their early formative years that could have contributed to why they turned out to be a psychopath later on. And I feel like that's also important to note those same things when you're looking at people who come from success. I mean, people who have reached a level of success that other people aspire to, and like compare. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if you pay attention, you'll see that a lot of people who are very successful people, not all of them came from privilege. A good chunk of them actually came from almost the same kinds of crazy, dysfunctional, unfortunate backgrounds that people who end up becoming like serial killers might have come from. However, somewhere along the line, they make a choice, they make a decision in their mind to not let whatever it was that was their barriers challenge them to the point where they just gave up on themselves. Somewhere along the line, they just make a conscious decision to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and keep pushing forward and challenging themselves and reaching, heights and having goals that might seem unattainable to other people, especially with whatever background that person has. But when you like really pay attention to that, it lets you know it doesn't always matter how crazy your childhood was if you have the right tools to fight against those inner demons that might come back to haunt you and try to slow you down. If you look at like, like for example, Elizabeth Smart. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her story, but she's an American girl who, well, now she's a woman, but she was a little girl when she got kidnapped. She was like 13 years old when she got kidnapped right out of her bed. And her whole family was home and she got kidnapped, and she survived quite a bit of months. I think like 9 months, maybe close to a year in captivity, and pretty much saved herself if you think about how the turn of events happened. And she got away. She survived and she got away. She could have let that event destroy her. She could have became a crackhead. She could have went crazy. She could have become a criminal herself. And there are so many people who go down that path when they've been abused like that, but or like had something traumatic happen to them. But even though I'm sure she has or had PTSD, she came through that, and like now she's actually helping other victims with the line of work that she's in, which is like crime journalism, something to that effect. So seeing something like that, should inspire us to kind of put into perspective whatever situation you're in. Even if it feels like, oh my God, it cannot get any worse than this, just remember to think of people like that who took whatever, hardships they had gone through and traumas that they have gone through, but they turned it around and used it to help other people. Because something I always hear those people say is that when you help other people, it helps you to work your own traumas out more. It's therapeutic to help others and see them, kind of changing right in front of you. So I hope that encourages somebody, because I really feel like it's so important for us. And that's why I love dolls, because having a doll like this really makes you think about things like that. It's not just about her being a millionaire and making all this money. That's the glitz and the glam of the story. But if you dig deeper, you'll see like she came from a hard background and could have just had no aspirations in life, just gave up before she even started. You know what I'm saying? But she didn't do that. She pressed and she pushed and she believed in herself and she made it happen. And that's the thing that I think is the important lesson to learn from these stories. So hopefully Barbie is doing what they're setting out to do, inspiring women with this series. And that's the story of Madam C.J. Walker, just in a nutshell, you guys. But anyway, let's look at this doll. First and foremost, let me just say the doll is very pretty. Let me turn these lights up a little bit more though, so you guys can see a little better, because I just realized it's kind of dark in here. How do I do this? My window open. Please no loud cars today. Oh my gosh, so over it. Anyway, okay. So yeah, her face. I don't think that her face looks anything like the actual real Madam C.J. Walker's face. They just don't look alike to me. I mean, I see where they were trying to go with it, but no, they don't look alike. I don't think so. Now, I do feel like this doll would be epically better if they had given her a unique face sculpt to actually resemble the real Madam C.J. Walker, like they did with what was that other doll that I'm thinking of. Maya Angelou. That doll looks just like her. So I wish they would have done that with this doll. That would have made her so much better. But I'm not gonna complain about it because I see where they were trying to go with it. And the doll itself is quite pretty. They did use a nice head mold to depict her. It just don't look like her. That's what I'm saying. And the regular price point for this doll is about 35 bucks, and that's what I ended up paying for her. I do see her over here on Amazon right now listed at like 34 and some change. So if you can snag her at that price, do it, because I also see the price fluctuating up to like $60 sometimes when they run out of stock, and then like, it's just random scalpers are on there. So if it's through Amazon, then you should be able to get her for the regular price or even $1 cheaper. Another reason why she doesn't resemble her to me is because of the hair. Her hairstyle and her hair length, I don't think is really that accurate to the actual Madam CJ Walker. At some point, her hair was long, like past her shoulders, like in this little picture on her hair product container. In that picture, you'll see that her hair is longer. It's like down past her shoulders. But just the way that they styled this hair next to the picture that they used to promote it, it just doesn't look like it's the right length or style. You know what I'm saying, guys? So, not that I'm complaining. I don't think that anything's wrong with the hairstyle. I'm just saying it don't look like her. That's what adds to it not looking like her, on top of the fact that she don't even got her head sculpt, right? So yeah, J Seal said it's not even a good lookalike. Yeah, so if you didn't know, like if I took this doll out the box and just had her on display like this with no markers, no indicators to let you know what doll this was, nobody's gonna look at this doll and be like, oh, it's Madam CJ Walker doll. Like, that's not happening. If you see this doll, even if she's not dressed in all her like rock star attire, you still are gonna be like, that doll looks a lot like Gloria Estefan. She looked familiar. You know what I'm saying? But this doll, that's not gonna happen. You're not, no, it just looks like a cute black girl. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only thing about the doll to me that is like, y'all could have did a little bit better than that. But I'm not complaining about it because I do like the way that the doll looks. And I did not buy this doll because I'm trying to have some depiction of CJ Walker in my collection, because almost none of my dolls that look like actual real people or celebrities, I don't add them to my collection because of the likeness to the celebrity and because I want the character of that celebrity in my Dollyverse. It's always because I just like the face sculpt. I just like the way it looks. Like, I like Gloria Estefan's face. She got a cute face. So if you're going to give me a doll with her face, then yeah, I'm going to get it because I'm trying to collect some cute faces up in here. You know what I'm saying? In my collection, she's not Gloria. She's Claudia. So she has a completely different, personality than the character she came to me as. So I do the same thing with all of these kinds of dolls. So that's why I'm not really bothered that this doll doesn't look like Madam CJ Walker. For me, the appeal of this doll was the actual sculpt itself, which is Nichelle. And the Nichelle sculpts, there's actually two Nichelle sculpts. This is one, and then another Nichelle is a more like modern one, which is the face that they use for the Luciana doll. And the Frida Kahlo Barbie doll. Those two have Nichelle sculpt, but that's the more modern version. This is the older Nichelle. So this doll, I feel like they used this sculpt more in like, I want to say definitely in the early 90s. I want to say in the late 80s as well, but I wasn't around Barbies at that time, so I don't really know. I was a little kid at that time, so I'm not sure. But I know definitely in the 90s they were using this sculpt heavily on the black Barbie dolls, along with some of the other ones like Chrissy and Asha. Tammy said it looks like a Christmas Barbie head sculpt. And I'm not sure if they used this particular one on a Christmas doll recently, but this sculpt, we haven't really seen a modern version of these dolls in quite a while. So I don't know what other dolls have this sculpt in like the past like 5 years, but I haven't really seen any, and I can't think of any. So when I saw this one, I was like, yeah, I don't actually have a Nichelle in my collection. You know what doll I want to compare her to? Actually, now that I'm thinking of it, let me go grab her. I was trying to find her, but here's the thing, you guys. Okay, here's the thing. Right here, what Crossing Season is saying. Nichelle was introduced with the Shani line. Tevin would be more of an expert. Yeah, I'm thinking of the Shani sculpt, which was what I was going to go and grab. So you read my mind. But the thing about the sculpt is that Back when they had these sculpts out heavy duty, like when I was into Barbies as a 90s youngster, I didn't see this sculpt a whole lot, not more than I would see the Shani sculpt with the open smile and like her teeth are showing, and the Chrissy one. So those were the ones that I saw the most. I feel like I saw Chrissy more, even more than these two by the time the 90s had hit. So it was kind of hard to even like find them, but also the ones that I would see, to me they didn't look like they were styled that good, and I didn't like the way they would do their faces. The screenings always had like the brightest of brightest eyeshadows and all the sparkles in the eyes, and the lips were always painted in these extra bright neon colors. And I was just like, that's too much. Like, y'all doing way too much. I don't know nobody who be walking around looking like this. And especially especially because at the time I was living in the hood, okay? Like when we came from Korea to America, we went straight to North Philadelphia. It was the straight up hood. I did not see black women walking around looking like that. Like I just did not see that. And I was like, who are these people supposed to be looking like? Because none of my aunts look like this. None of my cousins look like this. Nobody in this neighborhood looked like this. Like, what is going on? What's with all this crazy makeup, right? I just could not get with the program. So none of those dolls ever appealed to me, even though they had the brown skin tone that I liked. But it just didn't feel right. So I never bought them. I never wanted any of them. And then now as an adult, when I'm looking at how they did this face, I'm like, yeah, this is more like how I wish those dolls would have looked back then. And then the hair used to always be so big with the giant bangs. It was just so extra. It was so extra. And I couldn't get with the look, the aesthetic at that time. Now this is when I'm a kid. I don't even know back then that I can customize my dolls, and there wasn't that many options for customizing anyway back then. But like, you're not even thinking like that as a kid, that you can kind of like Frankenstein body parts and make them look whatever way you want to make them look. Wasn't even an option back then. So I was just stuck with whatever the dolls looked like when I got them. You know what I mean? So yeah, she just didn't appeal to me, and I just never bothered wanting any of those dolls. But I am gonna go run and grab my one of my shiny dolls, so you guys can see a comparison of the two next to each other, because they're kind of similar looking. Just give me 1 second, because I have a crazy doll mess going on. No, all right, I found her. I found her. Y'all, let me tell you, okay? You see my little makeshift setup over here. Ugh. I've been working for a week right now to redo my displays in my room, and so I had to remove all the dolls from my high up shelf, which is got I don't even know how many dolls that is. All I wanted all my boys in the same display area, like next to each other, instead of blended in with the girls. So I pulled all of those down, and like I have a pile of naked dolls with just piles of clothes all over the place. I mean, it's an organized mess, but still, my display shelves are like completely like dismantled because I want to do them all over again, color coded a certain way. So yeah, so I can't even have like my usual setup with my dolls out here while I'm doing the stream. But anywho's in, so she was in one of those piles, and they're waiting for hair fixed so I can put them up on display. But this face here is called Shani or Shani, however you decide to pronounce it. And this one, Nichelle, these two, like, I think of them like sisters because I feel like they look so similar to each other, and they almost look like the closed and open mouth version of the same sculpt. But I'm not saying that it is. I don't think that it is, but they just look so similar that I wouldn't be surprised if it really was. And this one, the scale of the head to me seems like it's a little tiny, teeny, tiny bit smaller than this one. You know how they have like the playline versions of the dolls. They have like slightly bigger head sculpts, even though it's the same sculpt. So I don't know if it's one of those deals or they normally have this discrepancy in the head sizes, but to me, her face is just a little bit smaller, like they do with the collector dolls, like this one. Like her face proportions are smaller than some of my fashionistas Barbies with bigger heads. So that's something I just happened to notice. Hi, Blake. I'm trying to read a comment here. Hold on. Janine said, Modern Times was used as 2000s holiday Barbies in 2013 as a collector cheerleader, and in 2020 for the Jean Michael Basquiat Barbie. And then Blake said, organized mess. That's the story of my life. I know, right? Minnie G said, eye width is a bit different. Yeah, the way they painted the eyes, it looks like her eyes are so much bigger. But I don't know if that's because of the socket being bigger or if it's just the way they painted the doll's face more like cartoonish. But whatever the case is, to me, they just look very similar. If these two were supposed to be the same head sculpt with one open and one closed, I really wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. But they just look so similar. See, like their profile, like how their noses dip in like that. Ugh, my camera hates to focus on these faces, y'all. But anywho's, I just wanted you to get an idea of how they look side by side. But in that era, in the early 90s era, these two sculpts were used quite regularly for black dolls, along with Christy and Asha too. So I don't have any of these in my collection, so that's why I wanted to add this version, because if I'm gonna have any version of this sculpt, I prefer to have a version that looks like something that's gonna blend into the rest of my collection. Now her clothes, what the heck? Oh my gosh. Holy moly, what in the world was that, you guys? Oh, you know what? Gosh. Sorry. Sunny! I'm so horrible. Oh. Anyway. Why do you like me again? Please think about this before you make more life decisions involving me. Okay, guys? This doll, I tried to spruce her hair a little bit. I smoothed it out. I smoothed out her big curls, her crazy curls, and gave her another, like, a boil wash. But I did a whole, like, process to her curls to make them smoother, and I think it worked. So I kind of like it like that. But I'm still very tempted to braid it up or straighten it or something, because I don't really know. Anyway, I don't know if I like her with big hair. This doll, I like the clothing. This is another reason why I really wanted her, because the color combinations in this clothes is so unique to me. Who designed this doll, you guys? Was it Carlisle Nuera? I don't know why I have Carlisle in my head as the person who designed this doll. And the color scheme is, like, so pretty. I heard that this was the favorite colors of the real Madam C.J. Walker, so that's why it was used for the color scheme of the clothing. But I just love how, like, old-timey the clothes look, but at the same time, you could kind of work this into a modern-day outfit if you wanted to. If you get really creative and kind of knew what to pair it with, I could see, like, this with, like, a pair of jeans, and it would still look like a fly top. You know what I'm saying? So I like the way that the clothing looks. It comes with this little container that's supposed to be like a little replica of the product that she was selling in real life, one of the products. And I'm not really interested in that piece, so I'm not going to open it up. But the top comes off, and it looks like there's, like, white cream on the inside. Here's her skirt. I thought that this skirt was going to be a lot less flowy. Like, I didn't think it was going to have all this give to the fabric. The way that it looks in the pictures, for some reason, I just assumed it was going to be very stiff. But it really isn't at all. And the shirt fabric, this fabric is more stiff than the actual skirt. And her shirt is, interesting. Okay, it has a cool little cut to it. Yeah, I could see this going with, like, a pair of jeans or some pants, and it would still be kind of cute. Of course, it's a very lavish top. I mean, you're not gonna wear this to, like, eat lunch at McDonald's, but I don't know, if you had, like, a nice church function to go to or something, maybe you would wear it. She's got this curvy collector style body, so her joints are just regular pivotal joints, not the Made to Move double joints that we like, but that's okay. It's okay to me because it's curvy. The curviness kind of negates the need for me to have the extra joints. Although, of course, if she has them, then that's phenomenal. But I'm not gonna cry because she doesn't. You feels me? All right, so now let's take this thing off. All right, so this is what the body looks like. And here's the body next to this wheelchair fashionistas doll, which I think has the same complexion as her. I don't see a discrepancy in the colors, really. To me, I think they're the same. So that's a good sign. And then, let me see if your face is squishy or if I have to heat it. I really want to take this hair down too. I like the curls, but I wonder if the curls, I wonder if this is a different hair texture. I used the wheelchair doll for her body donor. This is Janine saying that. And she said the Nichelle and Shani are similar. The difference is probably Nichelle's head being more vertical, narrow, and closed mouth. Yeah, I can see that being a thing. Oh, I love these hands. Is my water hot enough? My water doesn't feel that hot. I don't want to just pop her head off like I be zoing because I want to crack it. So I'm just going to go get more hot water. But hold on one second. Let me just see if it's hot because it might be cooled off. Then I got to boil it over again. Let's see. Nah, that's not hot enough. All right. So we're going to throw that in the kettle to get hot. And then after we take this head off, I want to put this head on this body because I want to see how she might look with the curvier body. I feel like she will be kind of fly. You know what I mean? And then this is the boots that she came with, which are kind of different looking. I don't think I've seen boots like these yet on other dolls. None of the dolls that I have. Maybe there's another doll that had a different color of these boots, but it's a cool mold. I like it the way it looks. And her feet look like that. These kinds of bodies, their feet molds are slightly different than the mold that they use for the curvy Made to Move bodies. I think they're shaped slightly different. Like they're more wide. This one is more wide, the foot. That's my opinion. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. Let me see how this looks on you. I want to try this outfit, this little romper on her. I think I like rompers a lot on my Barbies. Most of the rompers that I have for my Barbies, I like the cut and I like the fabrics that they use, like the design on the fabrics, the prints. I think they're so cute. I wish they would make more of the dresses with those kinds of fabrics, but they don't. I don't know. I don't really be feeling them dresses. That's why I'll be taking them apart. Like this lady right here. These guys have a bunch of Frankenstein-ass clothes, okay? This top was the dress that came on one of my Barbie Looks dolls, and it used to go down here, but I cropped it. And then the pants used to be part of a one piece that went all the way up to the top, but I cropped it, so now it's two pieces. And then I did the same thing here. This is the top that's supposed to be on the silver pants, and this used to be, remember the skirt that one of the Barbie Looks dolls had? It was like longer, and then it went kind of slanted down here on the bottom. I can't remember which doll it was, but anyway, yeah, so I took them apart because I was looking at my clothing stash and I was like, why do I have so many freaking dresses that nobody wears? I can't stand them. They're so annoying. This used to be part of a dress or something too, and then I turned it into a tube top for a curvy doll because I was just like, I need more shirts and I need more pants. So I started turning the dresses into pants, and y'all, let me tell you, I tried to get my son to sew it for me, but he was not understanding my design thought process, okay? Like trying to explain it to him takes forever, and I was just like getting impatient because I'm like, no, I want you to sew this part like this. I want you to do that. And I was like, oh, it's so annoying. So I was like, screw this. And I just did it myself, but I didn't sew anything. I just used like some fabric glue and just did it myself. because it was just too much. So that's what I've been doing. So these are the two pieces that she comes with. I put her in this little romper just to see how it would look on her, and it looks fine. I like the way it looks. I like these collector bodies for the curvy dolls because they just look more streamlined than the Made to Move bodies do. Made to Move body doesn't look bad. It just looks a lot more robotic than this one does, and the body seems a little more wide with the Made to Move bodies. I could be wrong. It could be a total illusion, but it just seems like that to me. Galaxy said, "Oh, the face up with, she looks beautiful," and I like that it's very mild, like makeup. They don't have a whole bunch of eyeshadows and just crazy blush and bright lipsticks. It's very calm and serene looking, so I really like that about how this doll was done. Let me go grab this water right quick so we can pop off somebody's head up in here. Whose head were we trying to pop off? Oh yeah, this doll. Okay, and then, and this doll, we gotta pop both their heads off. No, we don't have to pop both, just one. Guys, I'm talking to myself, okay? I'm trying to be organized. I'm trying to be sane. I'm talking to myself. Yo, thank goodness that I remembered that today was a half a day at my daughter's school, because otherwise I would have to go there right now to go pick her up, and then I would have to be done. But I remembered. I didn't leave her at school stranded. Yay, I'm a good mom. Alright, hot water, here we go. Here we go. So I have my hot water, and then we're gonna throw this doll's whole head. I don't have any Ziploc bags. I have to use a glove, but whatever gets the job done, okay? Stop laughing. Okay. She got to go in here. And then I put this whole thing inside the bowl with the hot water. That way my doll will not be soaking wet when I take her out to give her her new body or head. Right? Okay. No, I do have to take this one's head off. So I have to put her in the water too. Here we go. All right, I got to put the donor's head inside the water. Come on, little girl, get in there. And then I'm going to turn this dress into a shirt. Just letting you know now. Okay, you get in there too. Take a nap. Good night. Have a good night. I wonder if her skin tone... Oh, shoot. Y'all, look at how clumsy I am. I just keep knocking all the dolls over. Are they the same? No, they're not. They are not. Let me stop playing myself. Not at all. Y'all, let me tell you about this doll's hair, okay? Firstly of all, this doll is not child friendly when it comes to the styling of the hair. I don't care what these people at Naturalistas is talking about. I don't care what none of the fans of that brand is talking about. Somebody try to tell me that the hair comes crazy because you're supposed to style it into an afro your damn self. And I was like, how? How you supposed to do that? If I was a kid, you know how much hair I cut off, and it's still a hot mess. I'm still not done sprucing her hair. Like, if I was a child and somebody told me to figure out how to give her an afro, I would just throw this doll against a wall and leave. Like, I would just give up. Because it's too frustrating. What are you talking about? I did not sign up to become an afro hairstylist at a salon. Like, that's not... What are you talking about? Do you know how difficult it is to style an afro properly? You giving me a doll that is supposed to be marketed for her hair texture and style. It needs to come done. I cannot be held responsible for the finished look, man. What are you talking about? And it's supposed to be for kids. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. They're marketing it as some kind of product that's representing children, right? Like, what? Like, her hair is already done. So what's the big problem here? I don't understand why they did this with this doll. I just don't understand it. I think there was some kind of designing mistake that happened that somebody did not check. Somebody was going to catch an attitude with somebody if you critiqued the hair design on this particular one. Somebody didn't want to hear nobody's mouth, so they just said, well, maybe no one will notice, and they just let it slide right through. But, like, bruh, Are you kidding me? Y'all need to stop. Stop lying to people. That's not what it is. That's not what it is. I don't even know where to start with her hair, you guys. I'm working on it. Eventually I'll figure it out. But I'm just saying, like, if I was a child and I was given this doll, I would really be looking at the person sideways. Let me tell you how her hair is rooted. First of all, it's a lot of hair in the head, right? But like, it's so uneven. The lengths of the hair is so uneven. There's pockets where, like, right here around the perimeter is longer, then on the inside it's shorter, then on the sides it's shorter, then in the back it's super long. Like, there's like 4 different lengths going on. And why? Why? ¿Por qué? Pourquoi? ¿Wé? ¿Wé creo? It doesn't make any sense. They need to do something about it. Let's work on doing something about this. Wave 2, whatever this character's name is, Naturalistas, please get it together, okay? Please, please don't do this to yourselves. Get it together so that the parents don't have to listen to their kids whining when they come running up to them after they take the hair out of the package and they're like, parents, what are we supposed to do with this doll's hair? That is one of my big peeves when my daughter comes to me with her toy and she's like, Mom, adjust it. Mom, make this toy do what it was supposed to do fresh out the box. I'll be looking at her like, do I look like I ain't got nothing better to do with my time? I ain't got time for this. I do not have time for it. Whatever this thing is being advertised to be able to do, it needs to be just doing it. All right? I ain't about to sit here and reconfigure your toys because the manufacturer didn't feel like doing it. All right, now I'm trying to take this head off. Goodness gracious, this is another thing, y'all. Mattel, y'all think y'all slick. Mattel be making these heads extra hard for some reason nowadays. They think they slick, okay? They keep making the heads of the dolls, like the rubber, the vinyl that they use for the faces are not as squishy as they used to be. And it's so aggravating because you have to heat it before you remove it in order to make it very accurate without, you know, popping the little peg. And I don't got time for that. Just come off. Like, why? So annoying. All right, come on. Don't break. Do not break. Whoo, Lord. Hallelujah. All right, so this lady is headless. This lady is headless. This lady is going to go onto this body. Okay. Why do they look like they're such different colors in this light? So annoying. Anyways, you know why that is, though? Because honestly, this doll is not really the complexion of a wheelchair doll. She's actually a slightly lighter complexion. But when she's dressed and posed, it's really hard to tell the difference. So that's why it's looking like that in this lighting. It's not the lighting that's like playing tricks on our eyes. It really is like that, y'all. It really is like that. So I'm going to give her this body. Come on, girl. Get in there. Y'all play too much. Here we go. All right. There we go. She's kind of cute like this, too. I think she looks younger on this body. What do you guys think? That's just my opinion. I think she looks a little bit younger. And let me see how you look with this thicky body, little girl. Little girl. Can you handle it, little girl? Let me see. What y'all think? This sculpt is called Marissa, Model of the Moment, Marissa. And there's 2 versions of this sculpt, which is this one with the closed mouth and another with a slightly open mouth. The lips are just ajar in the open mouth version. It's not like a goofy grin, but there are 2 versions of this sculpt. I like this one better, so I wanted to get this one, but they're very expensive because they don't barely make any dolls with this sculpt. So whatever ones are out there are like ridiculous prices. Galaxy said, nah, I have that doll too, and I know too well that a child will mess that hair up really badly. I know, right? You know, you can use the hot water to swap out the hands too. I did it with this ballerina collector doll I had, and it worked out great. And I will still be careful if you plan on trying it out. Yeah, I do that sometimes with like this. Like, I love the way her hands look, and if I wanted, if I wanted for her to keep the little elegant hands, and I would have definitely swapped them out, which I've done for some of my dolls, like this one actually I did that with. Gloria, her original hands I thought were a lot prettier mold than the Made to Move flat hands, so I did switch her hands. But sometimes they're like in there, so you definitely, I would recommend heating them before you do that. Um, Questions and answers channel said, is this supposed to be an afro puff? That's a good question. It's like, I don't know, is it? It's a mystery. I don't know what on earth hairstyle they thought that this doll was supposed to be having, because she ain't got no hairstyle. Her hair is just not even styled at all, in my opinion. And this right now is after I cut off a lot of the uneven lengths, and it's still very uneven, even though I cut a lot of it off. Like, it was like out to here before I cut the hair. And then she just has a little hairband around her hair, just holding everything up. But it's just, guys, I tell you right now, this hair, okay, the way that this hair was done on this doll, it makes me feel like when I was a kid and I would be so frustrated with my hair texture because I could not style it the way that I wanted to style it, unless somebody put a perm in it, which obviously if you perm your hair, it's not the same texture that it was. So other than doing that, there was no way to tame our hair because nobody knew how to take care of the hair. And our hair, me and my sister, is not even as coarse as a lot of like our cousins who were full black, their hair texture was. So even though we had mixed texture hair, it was still so difficult to manage. And I would just get so frustrated with my hair that I would like have no choice but to relax it, because even if I was trying to go like a long time without relaxing my hair, there was just no way I could tame it unless I did. You know what I mean? And the frustration of not being able to get your hair styled the way you want it, like that's what I feel when I'm dealing with this doll's hair. It's just like the anxiety and like the frustration. And like the same thing happens with my daughter Jayu. Like her hair is so long compared to how my hair was. My hair would not grow past my shoulders like for most of my life, right? So but the problem with my hair is that because I don't know how to take care of my hair, a lot of my ends would keep chipping off, even though it was growing from the roots end of it. The ends would be weak, so they would keep chipping off. So it was always staying the same length. And with Jackson, because she doesn't have to handle her own hair, I'm handling her hair. So her hair doesn't have that problem, and it's very thick. It's very healthy hair. But what I do with her hair is I do relax her hair, but I only relax it every 3 months or so. And I only relax like the first like inch or 2 inches of her new hair growth, not all of her hair. So she never has to worry about like damage from the relaxer on the rest of her hair. And when and I actually stopped using relaxer and I only use texturizer on her hair, which I think, I don't know if texturizer is milder, but the hair doesn't get as straight when you use texturizer. It just loosens up the curls that are already there. So it'll be like this hair with a texturizer would become wavy instead of straight, if that makes sense. So that's what I do with my daughter's hair, but my daughter's hair texture naturally is very similar to this. So it's really, really thick. Her hair texture is very different than my hair texture. I can't care for her hair the way that I do with my own. So I have to do what I got to do to make sure that her hair stays manageable. But she just gets so angry when I'm like trying to style her hair when it's in this texture, because it pulls on her scalp. And she's in so much pain that she's just like, oh, leave me alone, you know? She don't want nobody even coming anywhere near her head. So I get it. I get it. And that's what Madam C.J. Walker was famous for. She was selling products that help black women to tame their hair and control it better and help it to grow so that they weren't having to deal with all this mismanagement with their hair. But speaking of hair, let me take this thing out because I really want to see what the rest of her hair is looking like. And from pictures that I saw of my dolly friends who have this doll, I think her hair is a pretty decent length. And I think, oh goodness, come on, why you gotta be so difficult? Y'all, just why? Like, am I going blind? Can I not see? Is that what it is? I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm trying to get this rubber band out. We gonna get it out. We's gonna get it out. We gonna fight, okay? We is gonna fight. It is what it is. If I cut it, it's supposed to just pop off. Like, what is happening? Jeez, these people. Technology. What kind of smart rubber band is this that will not let go? Who the hell calling me restricted? Don't be calling me restricted, man. I don't know who you people are. Goodness. Oh, look at her hair. Wow, that's cute. Okay, so it's tied down right here. There's a twist here. I'm wondering if the hair inside this twist is the same kind of texture like the rest of this hair, or if I take it out, it's gonna be like a totally different texture. But I love the way these little curls look. They're so cute. Like, see, I like this kind of hair texture, and like this could be styled in like a little afro too. It's cute. I like this. It's smooth, so you can, even though it's curly, if you brush through this hair, it's gonna, you know, you're not gonna have to deal with like tangles and things like that with this kind of hair. So I like this texture. It's the usual smooth saran kind of texture. This texture is actually very different from this one though. This is also a Barbie brand doll, but they don't feel quite the same. This one is more like rough, I guess. I don't know if that's a good way to just... Woo! Okay. Did it kick me out?